Welcome to Not Cry Act 4. I want to set some expectations in this video because we're going to be dealing with some pretty heavy topics for both Rerir and Nefer's pasts. And it's difficult for me to discuss these without relating them to real world examples. Rerir's past is depressing. It's difficult to experience this backstory without making connections to the Holocaust, to the genocide against Palestinians in Gaza, to the genocide of Uyghurs in China, the ICE deportations in the US, the ever increasing hatred towards immigrants across the world, the treatment of trans people, and I can just keep going. The point to say all of this is that this is such a tough backstory to get through because it connects to so many current events about human suffering that has affected myself, people I know. Humans should never be treated this way, and to have a quest that is just all about human suffering, it's so depressing. Seeing the stories about a Conrian breakfast shop owner losing their employees, small businesses closing down, people never being able to feel comfortable again in their own city because of surveillance. Seeing a list of younger and younger orphans because Conrian killed all the adults. It's so much to take in. I have no sympathy for Rerir. He upheld this awful system, and he only wanted to change it when it affected himself. But even then, he still helped conduct these genocides. It was an awful experience to be in the training room, to then have it shift to just a room of dead kids. This is an experience that I have not had in Genshin. And although I don't know whether the game wants me to feel sorry for Rerir for what happened, because I do not, I think Hoyoverse has done such a great job of showing human suffering in this way. I felt like Natlan Act 4, when the Abyss was attacking all of Natlan, I felt like that was like, they're getting somewhere, they're going somewhere. And now here, experiencing this, it was so painful. And I think maybe in other years, it might not be as painful, but there are so many recent events, especially in 2025, that come back to human suffering. So to have a quest, an act, a portion of this quest just dedicated to that and put you in the perspective of the person causing this suffering, it was a lot to get through. And just when I thought we can get a palate cleanser, we are immediately dropped into a very complicated Nefer quest. This quest was slow. For the first time in Not Cry, I asked myself, why are we even doing this? But as we dive deeper, we start to talk about colorism. Racism has always existed in Sumeru by having this division of the academia and the people of the desert. But in Nefer's past, I think this was the first time that skin color was specifically mentioned. We also begin to learn that students who come from the desert receive less benefits and a worse education. These are incredibly real scenarios for those a part of communities, whether you're poor, a minority, or indigenous. And I was so surprised to see these topics appear in an Archon quest. It does make me a bit sad though, because although Hoyoverse does point these themes of colorism out, they themselves still abide by what skin tones are marketable. And unfortunately, that means we just won't see the full spectrum of human skin tones for playable characters. I understand this is a difficult topic in the Genshin community because people with the loudest voice tend to be the most extreme. So any discussion about this turns into a toxic cesspool. But I wanted to bring this up because I didn't want to ignore this part of Nefer's past. From there, we see how the people in the desert are fighting over fresh water. It's this really cruel and sad conclusion because Nefer's tribe was killed because of a well dispute, and Nefer gets revenge by having the other two tribes fight each other. I honestly didn't know what to think about this backstory. It was so sad. So many people dying over this dispute. So much human suffering. Sunue attempting to reach out for help to the academia to only be ignored, leading Nefer to only act on revenge. But I think that's what makes all of this such a great backstory, because now we see Nefer's kindness towards Lauma, Nefer's intelligent network, which seems to be applying equally to everyone. She seems now to be so focused on assuring that this cannot happen again. I apologize for being so melodramatic. The topics discussed in both these backstories were really depressing because they connected so personally to real world events, to so many humans suffering out there in the world. And I mean, look, there are so much things that even I don't know that are happening to people every single day. I'm on YouTube and I make videos and I talk about things. The reason why I don't talk about a lot of these topics and a lot of these things is like, this is also my escape. This is also a way for me to share the positive aspects of the world. But I do appreciate Hoyoverse really allowing us to sit with these moments, these stories of human suffering.
There's nothing to fear. You're sure? Of course. It's almost over.
And now that I've had a few days since I recorded that previous section, let's talk about the more exciting aspects of this quest. Because hey, we finally sealed the evil guy into a chess set. We have won. Look, I make the joke, but this is an incredibly awesome moment, because at the beginning of this act, we were introduced to Durin, a very kind-hearted and polite kid following in the steps of his big bro, as well as the man of the hour, Dane. Dane has always represented the best parts of the Genshin lore that I've always wanted to learn. But since Nodcry is just all about the world lore of Teyvat, it was just great seeing Dane show up so much earlier than expected, bro. You were supposed to show up at the end of the act. I am conflicted about Dane's role in the genocide against the Crimson Moon bloodline, but we'll table that for now because that is a whole can of worms, and I'm sure Hoyoverse has a very good reason for it, okay? Anyways, we were with the entire team, ready to take on Rurir. And I mean, everyone begins to make their preparations. Everyone had a hand in this. And what a hand it is, because the entire ending of Act 4 was absolutely incredible. The entire fight with Rurir was so intense. I love that at the 10% health mark, he gets stronger and then forces your entire team out of the arena, making it just between you and Nefer, the two people who have been a thorn in his side this entire act. It was so tense, and then the amount of time it took me to get through the second form of Rurir, I started to think that, like, oh my god, does the game actually want me to fight him at his full power? Of course, I did realize several minutes later that you should be using Nefer's lunar charges attacks, because that actually deals decent damage to him. But either way, once I figured it out, the culmination of the actual plan we have to defeat Rurir was incredible. Using his own power against him by having Durin convert his abyssal energy into something that Columbina can use this is on another level. And then for at this pinnacle moment, Nefer sacrificing her own vision to make sure that this plan goes off without a hitch, incredible. And then we're seeing the fight between Columbina and Rurir, just intense, okay? And then we have the incredible moment of the moon gate opening up, Rurir being tossed over there, and him just smugly going, you can't keep that open. And then he looks over to his side and he sees his best friend, Dane, keeping that moon gate open as Rurir is flung into who knows where. Is he just going into space? Is he going into some other world? I don't know what the hell that moon gate is. They actually haven't even explained it yet. All we know is that Felindis went into a moon gate and that now Columbina can open up a moon gate, but we have no idea where that gate goes. Are we just helping him get to Felindis? I have no idea. Dude, this whole ending was so good, and it was just a great sense of relief knowing that everything that led up to this, the depressing backstory with Rerir and the Khaenri'ah and the depressing backstory with Nefer, all ended in this feel-good moment, this moment where we can finally celebrate that Rerir is gone. And then we have this fun scene where everyone is celebrating, everyone is so happy that we won. And so we have this nice area where we're all decompressing at the flagship. Very, very cool. And then we also get this little fun moment where Sandrone is talking to us about lore that we learned back in Fontaine. It's just so awesome. Through and through, I just really enjoyed the way this quest was written. I greatly appreciate that even though I was feeling so much depression and my heart was aching during these backstories, it just shows how good of a story this is. That something pulled me in and connected me on a profound level to make me feel these emotions. And I appreciate that Hoyoverse is attempting to tell stories like these. Thank you all for watching. Huge thank you to all the Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube members for supporting the channel. And for those of you who have been gifting to the community, I greatly appreciate it. I cannot tell you how much I'm thankful for everyone. And I'll see you all next time for Act 5. Please be a little bit, at least please be a little bit more happier, okay? All right? I guess in Natlan Act 4 it was also depressing, so this one's even more depressing. In Snezhnaya, am I just going to... It's fine. Goodbye now. Bye.